Hello, my loves. Welcome back to Chemistry with Kismet Tarot. I'm Monica, the Kismet Chemist. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Welcome to the family. I'm honored to have you. If you're returning, welcome back. I have missed you. So as you guys can see, there is a different camera angle today. We're experimenting here. You guys don't normally see me channel. I don't normally set it up this way because I'd like you guys to see the cards. And I used to be really insecure about my channeling. But I keep getting this message about embracing fallibility. And for me to receive that message right now is a huge, huge struggle. Because in my life right now, I am dealing with fallibility in a really big way. Modern medicine's fallibility, the fallibility of spiritual healing, the fallibility of realizations surrounding spiritual bypassing that presents in a way that you don't expect. Essentially, I thought that I had done a lot more healing than I had, but you can't heal what you're not aware of needs to be healed. And whether it is by intentional lack of awareness, like intentionally avoiding having awareness, or if it's because you just don't have all the answers, you can't heal what you don't know needs to be healed. And here is where fallibility comes in. We as human beings need to accept more fully our humanity. And in order to accept more fully our humanity, we have to accept that while, yeah, we are spiritual beings and we contain this incredibly high vibrational, ethereal essence within each and every one of us, we're still fallible in this human incarnation. And we all consciously chose this. Whether we want to accept that, whether we want to fully realize that, we consciously chose to be here, to be incarnated, to experience fallibility. What comes as a side of fallibility is grace. But when you hold on to the mistakes, when you hold on to the errors, to the wrong turns or wrong directions, whatever the perception of wrongness is, when you hold on to that, you're holding on to fallibility, but you're taking fallibility and creating a wound around it and making it a shadow rather than embracing it as the opportunity to do trial and error throughout your life with the grace of knowing that essentially this incarnation that we have is a lot like being an entrepreneur. We all chose on a soul level to come here and to embrace the trial and error fallibility of humanity's existence. We chose to come here and try to create the life that we desire, the life that we have essentially written within our blueprint and within our Akashic records that we all think that we know how to access. But 90% of the time, it's fly by the seat of our pants and we're creating the record as we go. And whoa, imagine that. Imagine that. Imagine if there was no blueprint for us being incarnated. And instead, this is literally a trial and error process of learning creativity, learning what our soul can express itself as in this incarnation. And that's not to say that we haven't had prior incarnations, but here's the thing. When we incarnate, each one of us incarnates in a new persona. like myself, I'm Monica in this persona, in this life, in this incarnation. So we all incarnate differently every incarnation. And so we give ourselves this idea, this notion that there's a blueprint, that there's a path, that there is a book somewhere that gives us each step-by-step phase and chapter of this journey. But in reality, we're like the author in the first draft right now. And the second draft comes after this life. And none of us are really realizing that we're the first draft. This is what in the authorial world they call the top shelf book. And you have to decide, will you let this be a top shelf book this lifetime? Will you let this be the lifetime where you do all these trial and errors, but the core lessons aren't necessarily integrated fully? And so it's the life that you put in the top drawer. I didn't learn what I needed to learn, so I'm putting it in the top drawer, and I know that the next one is the masterpiece that's going to come out. But that indicates that any first attempt, any first try is always going to be an error. And I don't personally play that game. I think that we all are on this journey and we're meant to experience this journey as it comes. But does that mean that it can't be the coup de grace? It can't be that magnum opus kind of life. And if we are all fallible, then isn't the dissonance what gives everything the character? No, I'm being brought to dissonance in music, and that is the case. So let's find out what Spirit wants to talk about with this stuff. We've got the 5 of Wands, the 6 of Discs, the Hermit, the Knight of Discs, and the Sun card. On the back, we have the Knight of Wands. This 5 of Wands catches me a lot because it's got this lion in the middle of a wheel and it's screaming, but it's got the scythe in the back and everybody's raising their wands. And you think about the nature of the 5 of Wands in the Rider-Waite Tarot. And the nature of the 5 of Wands in the Rider-Waite Tarot is that it's all about competition, conflict. But in this, it almost looks like a battle cry to me. I would say it looks like a battle cry of the lion itself, but the lion almost looks like it's in pain and people are raising their fists up, and it's really asking us if we reject the animalistic nature that is contained and exists within each one of us, if we contain our natural urges, our natural instincts, are we not in competition with ourselves? Are we not conflicting within ourselves because we're not allowing ourselves to fully accept and balance out all the different aspects of who we are? And now with this 6 of Discs, it's literally like we need to ask ourselves, are we going to keep being in conflict within ourselves, or are we going to tame the beast? And now we've got this kind of strength card energy, which doesn't surprise me because we have the sun and the sun is ruled by Leo. But we've got this energy here of you can tame the beast instead of dominating the beast. You can it's like the Harry Potter spell, I think it's Incendio, where you light something on fire. But when you use that spell, you direct it. You direct the flow of fire using your wand. And again, they're all lifting up with these wands. They have all of the wands raised up, elevated up. And so it's about us learning that the direction of where we choose to direct our inspiration, our go-getter energy, this wand energy that is about taking action, taking initiative, where we direct that fire, that flow, that's going to determine whether or not we are being fully ourselves, fully integrated, fully accepting of all the different parts of us. There's also with the scythe, it's like this energy of the female lion is kind of being cut down so that the masculine lion can come forward. So while some of us may have been in our divine feminine and been the lioness, so like Sekhmet energy of divine justice, divine anger, righteous indignation. And I've been in that phase. I was in that phase for years. We're now being moved out of that, and it feels like a death. It feels like conflict everywhere. It's this massive level of confliction all around each and every one of us. Why? Because we're learning how to tame what was once untamable within us. The divine feminine is wild in nature, but we're meant to not domesticate her, but tame her. There are situations and cases in the world that I'm being shown where people have tamed wild animals and they release those animals back into the wild. Like you rescue a lion, you nurture the lion until it is ready to be released back into the wild, and you do that. And then there are years in between when the person who nurtured that lion and when the lion see each other, and the lion is living as a lion in the wild, but then the person comes back and it's like instantaneous. It's a tamed wild animal. It is not domesticated. It is tamed. And that's what we're being asked to realize, because we do have a domesticated cat here, but it's about balancing these two and understanding about how to tame them. Because when one rears its head and goes overboard, so when the wildness within each and every one of us really rises up because we feel all this confliction, we feel like we need to go, we need to do, we need to create, or we need to destroy, the wild animalistic instinctual nature within us rises up and wants to come forth. It wants to be seen, be heard, but that's when the fire can burn out of control. On the flip side, and I can speak to this because I have two very fat domesticated cats, which I'm pretty sure one of them is in here somewhere. I'm pretty sure Bella is in here somewhere. And I know Willow's in here. But when you domesticate a cat, they don't necessarily know how to function in the wild, out in nature. My cats, they can't go outside. They don't know how to navigate the outside world, but they still have that instinctual urge to go after birds, go after anything that's in the outside world. But once they take a step outside, they panic and they come back in. Why? Because they've been domesticated. It's a comfort zone. So there's this dueling energy here between the Five of Wands and the Six of Coins, where we're trying to find the balance or the counterbalance point between the wild divine feminine and the domesticated, modernized divine feminine, or feminine within the perception of humanity right now. And how we're being asked to do that is by looking internally at the things that we aren't fully aware need to be healed. That's what the hermit journey is all for. But how do we find the things that we don't know? We find the things that we don't know by surrender. That's the number one. That's number one. We've got the Knight of Wands and the Knight of Discs. The Knight of Wands is the shadow. The shadow really wants to come forth. He wants to rush forward right now. And that's important to recognize, because what we're being asked to embody is the Knight of Discs, not the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands is the shadow energy, and that is fear. Fear dictates and says, I may not know what needs to be healed, but I know how to avoid it. So I'm going to go as rapidly forward as I can. The Knight of Discs understands there is more to this story than I realize. There is more than what I have come into. And because of this, I need to take it slow. Give me one moment, guys. Okay. All right, my kids are getting home, but it's this Knight of Discs energy as I need to take it slow. I need to move slower so that I can do this as thoroughly as possible, so that when harvest time comes, I will have 2 bushels and not 1. And in that's where you find your personal power. That's what's missing here. That's what's missing, a spiritual sense of personal power. When we don't accept fallibility, when we don't accept that we are human and we make mistakes and we're fallible, like we are. When we don't accept that aspect of ourselves, when we reject that part of us and we say, no, I'm perfect. I am this, I am that, I vibrate at this frequency. I don't care how high any of us vibrate, because we still make mistakes. And it's important to recognize our own fallibility. It's so important. The word fallible is literally like, I can see it in my third eye, and it's literally like flashing like a stoplight in front of my third eye. Fallible, fallible, fallible. Even this message is fallible. Why? Because it's not going to necessarily apply to everyone. This whole setup is fallible. I'm not being a perfectionist anymore. I'm just letting myself channel. I'm letting you guys see what this looks like on the other side of the camera. Why? Because it's imperfect. It's imperfect. We have this perception that we're all perfect. And especially when you're coming to a tarot reader, an online psychic, an online life coach, spiritualist, even an online therapist, there's so much more. There's so much more to the human existence and human experience than what we can actually see within the guise of what is presented online. That's why there are so many times where you'll hear somebody teach a lesson about the perception versus the reality based off of pictures that are put up. I used to put up a bright face and motivational quotes and whatever, and people were so honored and blessed and grateful to receive what I was sharing, and not a single word of it was true to me. It was utterly hypocritical. I don't do that anymore. If I feel it, I post it. If I don't, I won't. Why? Because it's disingenuous in nature. And authenticity matters on this journey. But we have to realize that even with authenticity, we're fallible. See, I can't even fully clearly speak. Okay, that's too many. Spirit, can we go a different direction, or can we just add to what you want to say about fallibility? Thank you. Integrity begets respect. Now, here is where Spirit is going with the accepting your fallibility. When you accept your fallibility, I'm not surprised. It says betrayal never goes without a ripple effect of consequences. And this came out in the priest shuffle. Okay. But integrity begets respect. So when you betray yourself by not embracing the fact that you are capable of making mistakes. You're capable of interpreting things wrong. You're capable of this and that, but you have enough integrity to say, I am this person. I see this. I have this perspective. Now I don't. And you allow the change to occur. And then you give respect and you give forgiveness to people who make mistakes. If you think about like the weatherman, I love this. Thank you, Spirit. Okay. The weatherman it's like an ongoing joke, but the weatherman is the one profession that gets to make a mistake consistently across the board and always keep his job. Always keep their job. But that's the thing. They have integrity. They know the weather is ever changing. Each and every one of us is ever changing. We're always shifting, always changing in this world. We are never the same. Our entire being is made up of molecules vibrating at an incredibly high frequency. We are literally, what is the word? Because I think static is the opposite, but that's kind of what it feels like. Like you think about static on a TV. That's how we are. we jump around, we move around, and our molecules are excitable, or they can be dulled. So whatever this betrayal is, however it plays out, because I feel like we're all betraying ourselves a lot of the time, but we hold on to betrayal. Why? Because when we feel as though someone wronged us, it helps us to feel right. But what's the point in that? That's a hierarchical notion. We need to remember, if we want to live in a state of integrity and accept the fact that we are fallible, then we have to accept that other people are too. And people make mistakes. And the reason why this is coming through me, and I'm just going to say it straight up, the reason why this is coming through me is because I am dealing with the doctors having misdiagnosed me 13 years ago and having gone through 13 years of medical trauma. Abuse in my prior marriage, a lot of it tied to my physical health and how he felt about me being sick and me dropping out of college because I was so sick. Bone marrow biopsies and organs being removed slowly over time, this complication, that complication, unexplainable things going on. And if it hadn't been for a benign tumor on my ovary, we might never know the truth. So everything does happen for a reason. But everyone, including myself, we're all fallible. I posted about fibromyalgia, and I am finding out that there is a high likelihood that in the next coming months of my life, I'm going to sit down with a specialist and I'm going to be told that I never had fibromyalgia to begin with. And when you work really, really hard at accepting a diagnosis that never once felt right to you, you have to accept the fact that you betrayed yourself in that acceptance. And it created a ripple effect of consequences because you accepted something that wasn't true, that your intuition and your soul knew wasn't true. And this can play out in a multitude of ways. This is just how it's playing out in my life. It's not easy. This is not an easy situation for me. It is incredibly emotional. But I'll be damned if I'm going to make it, or if I'm going to let it be something that I don't make into something better for myself moving forward. I'll be damned if I don't learn the lesson from this and accept and be gracious about it with myself and with others. But it doesn't mean that I'm not going to allow myself to feel the emotions of anger and rage and resentment and wondering and pain and sadness at all that has been lost on this journey. But why would I wallow and languish in those emotions? You feel them so that you can understand what they mean, and what they have taught me, what this whole situation has taught me is that this human existence is so important and it matters so much more than we want to admit. But we're also always told not to take it too seriously, and that's the truth. But we can't ignore our truths or what our body says or what this world has to offer as it is. There is that message of taming. Taming is a gray area. Taming means to understand that there is domestication or modernization, and there is a wild way or a holistic way of handling things. There is both the ancient way of healing and there is the modern way of healing. And if we reject one, we're not moving with integrity because we're rejecting something that spirit offers to us by giving us an opportunity to be incarnated into this existence, into this reality the way that it is. We came here for a reason. So we came here, and if we're dealing with something like medical issues or, I don't know, like that's one of the number ones for me. Is medical issues or wanting to travel the world. This is significantly easier than, say, during Magellan's Day, where you are highly likely to get sick or crash your boat at sea. I know my verbiage is terrible, but you see my point. There are things in this modern world that we, in the spiritual realm, can degrade, but we incarnated here to experience these things. So why would we stick our noses up at it during a spiritual awakening? They're meant to be blended. We have planetary return, cyclicality, homecoming, and progress. That's why. Okay, so we go in cycles, we go in patterns, we go in these incarnations, and then we come home. We come home either to ourselves or we go home. When we die, we go home. We have this homecoming, and we're meant to progress forward. We all chose to incarnate into a world filled with rapid progression, rapid changes. So to reject that is to reject the choice that you made on a soul level to come here, which means that you're rejecting and betraying yourself and your soul. And at the same time, a lot of the experiences that we can have in this life can make us feel like our souls betrayed us simply by choosing to come here and experience the things that we have to experience. And that I know very well, because when you deal with chronic illness, you always wonder, well, what the hell was I thinking coming here to deal with this? But what you were thinking, my soul was thinking, in my belief, in my truth, that my soul was thinking, I bet I can grow from this, teach people from this in so many different ways, that this can translate into a multitude of different areas of life so that you can see that there isn't one singular situation that sets itself apart or separate from anything. And if there's not one situation that can't be correlated to another, then each and every one of us are intricately interwoven, as we are all under the guise of the universal law of oneness. We're all connected to each other. And that's why these things translate, because everything is connected. We have Ceres, self-care, wellness, and agriculture. And on the back, we have the South Node, past lives, natural gifts, and karmic challenges. So this is about us learning how to take better care of ourselves. I've been seeing a lot of posts, and it's no surprise here that the cards that I got drawn to pull here are mindful messages, empowering questions, the stress less cards, the chakra cards, and the divine healing light cards, along with the ones we have out here. So I saw a post on Instagram, and I can't remember the name of the creator, but she had been brought to my suggested because I follow Colleen from Spiritualistic on Instagram, and she also follows this channel. And so it was like suggested based off of whatever. And so I checked it out, and she was talking about how we're collectively moving into a phase of body consciousness. And even I have noticed that. And it struck me that this person is talking about all these things. And then she was talking about the solar flare. And I had a dream about us being able to actually visually see the solar flare. Like you walk out and you can see the red flares from the sun. And I texted it to my husband, and I just menopause dreams. Or so I thought, but then the dream stopped. So I have to look back over them. That's how the sad kangaroo dream came about, was the dream right before that was solar flares. So whatever that means, I don't know. We don't need to, we're not here to break that down. But she was talking about the solar flares and how they're creating downloads and changing us on a cellular level, changing our body chemistry and our body makeup. And I was already moving into a body conscious lifestyle, being more conscientious about what I eat, what I drink. I have been over the past 3 years, I have been working on quitting all my vices and eating cleaner and making sure that I listen to what my body needs, because I don't like doctoring in the modern world. I just don't. I don't think anyone who deals with chronic illness enjoys going to the doctor. And I don't want to have to spend a lot of time going to doctors. I spent 10 years where most of my life was going to doctors, specialists, every medical center within the state of North Dakota. I've been down to Mayo. I've been down to Minnesota Oncology. I may be sent to, I'm guessing I'm guessing that Spirit showed me this because it's the best place for me to go, which would be, I would be going down to Tulane in Louisiana because they have a clinic down there that specializes in what the doctors believe I have. And it's a genetic condition. So there's nothing they can really do about it except management, palliative care. And nobody likes the words palliative care. I digress. My point here is when we learn to see all of these different things and then see where it's playing out in our lives, we start understanding how to care for ourselves better, how to love ourselves more, how to love ourselves deeper. And we come back home to ourselves. And every time we allow ourselves to get back into our body and to listen to our body, we make progress moving forward. It doesn't always feel like it. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm struggling with this dissonance internally where I don't feel like I'm making any progress moving forward because I'm doing things to heal and to cope and like meditative experiences or practices that I used to start meditating, to start my spiritual journey. Things like crocheting constantly. These are things that I'm doing now that I used to do before. And so I'm struggling with the fact that I feel like I have been knocked back. But in reality, I've made way more progress because I have more answers, more clarity, more awareness, and I'm stronger now than I ever have been. So I'm ready to move forward. If we take a step back and look at how far we've come from the past, from those cycles and challenges that we've gone through, the karmic pains and anguishes that we've gone through, and we see how much we have grown into who we are, what we contain within ourselves, we start moving with a lot more integrity and stop betraying ourselves, our souls, our bodies, our minds, and our spiritual journey in this lifetime because we're no longer rejecting ourselves. It literally says, go to the center of yourself. Close your eyes. If there was a center in you, where would it be? Look for it and keep your attention to it. If the center feels small, imagine it growing like a balloon. It's difficult to find your center. If it's difficult to find your center, look for it in peace. When you find it, rest in it and breathe. Stay there for about 5 to 10 minutes. By returning to your center regularly, you will have better recognition of your emotions, feelings, and needs. When you're not just serving others, you will feel more powerful. Again, self-care, learning how to care for ourselves, to come back to center, this homecoming energy, to come back and nurture ourselves and maintain a tameness rather than the black and white division or separation between being that wildness and domesticated. We want to be tame so that we understand, yes, there have been betrayals in the past. We have betrayed ourselves in many ways, and apply it to your life. Guys, if you don't feel like you've betrayed yourself ever, don't apply this in that way. You know you, I don't know you. I'm here reading energy and letting spirit move through me. But if your initial instinct was, I would never betray myself. I used to have that. My husband once said something about how I said that I was the only person that had never given up on me. Everybody else had given up on me. And he looked at me and he goes, sometimes you've given up on yourself. And I said, no, because I'm still breathing. But I have, because I have tried to unalive myself multiple times. I have betrayed myself. I have gone against my better nature, my intuitive knowing. I've gone against myself and my morals and my standards and my integrity. I've gone against those and taken actions out of an emotional reaction. Why? Because I didn't know how to center myself and balance myself. I didn't know. I wasn't aware. I wasn't. But does that mean that I haven't made progress now? Does that mean you haven't made progress now? That's what you really need to ask yourself. Have you made this progress? Have you learned this lesson? Have you come back home to yourself and realized that caring for yourself first and foremost is more important than caring for other people? And then we have thank yourself for being. Behind all of your doings is you, independent of your gains, goals, and everything you do. The true you will show when you give up doing for a while. Close your eyes and thank yourself for being able to just be. Even if it feels hard not to do anything, just sit there and thank yourself for being. Thank yourself for being so much more than you can prove by doing and saying stuff to others. Gratefulness helps us to be in the present moment positively. When you experience the here and now, it reduces stress. And now this comes back to that hard truth that I had to face. And I know that I have mentioned it before on this channel about how you can use the spiritual journey to dissociate from your physical form, especially for those who are chronically ill, always in pain, have a lot of trauma that they don't want to look at. You can use this spiritual journey, and especially with the plethora of guided meditations out there, you can use it to dissociate from your body, to keep yourself focused on the ethereal realms, and then you don't ever feel what's going on in your body to its fullest. And I even said this to David last night. I said, I know my body is feeling more pain than I am consciously aware of, because I can feel the tingles and the markers of pain that are there. But I know that I'm not fully in my body right now. And I know that I'm not fully in my body because I've taught myself over time to separate out, because I live at a constant 8. So I can function and continue moving forward. And the problem is I've recognized that when I do that, I don't allow myself the time and the patience to rest and to just be. And with me having surgery, I have made it a concerted effort to take more breaks and to take care of myself. Even if I'm not actually feeling the pain, it doesn't mean that I'm not aware that it's not there. I'm fully aware that my body is in a healing state, which means that I know that I'm limited. Yes, because of how I have shifted my mentality into these higher levels of awareness in a big way, I feel that energy of that higher nature of myself. And so I know that I could probably push and lift things heavier than 15 pounds or vacuum my floor, which I haven't been able to do. And I'm a neat person by nature. This is not helping. But I know that my body would not handle it well. I know I'm not supposed to. So even if I know that I won't fully feel it, I am consciously aware of what the healing is that is needed on a physical level. There's Bella. So for this message, it's knowing sometimes our body knows when our mind doesn't. So our body can show us. There are so many resources out there that can teach you how to utilize spirituality to connect to the body. Eastern body, Western mind, cosmic health, astrology for the soul. Those are all really good, really great resources and books that you can look at that show you how these things play out psychologically, spiritually, and physically in your life, so that you can learn how all of it interacts and be more within yourself. Not everyone is built for yoga. Not everyone is built for that part of the spiritual energy and spiritual journey. So we are being asked to reevaluate, rethink based off of our past experiences, where our joy is internally, where our center is. Give yourself the patience and the grace to find this truth within yourself, to come back home to yourself and to take care of yourself in the ways that you need to without feeling like you're going to lose something. All right, Spirit, what questions? Can we get just a couple of questions for the collective before we pull? I'm going to pull one of the healing lights and then a couple of mindful messages, because this is longer than I thought it. Well, no, I don't want to say that because I kind of expected it to be about an hour. Okay. What we were talking about, gratefulness helps us to be in the present moment positively. When you're in the present moment, you can center yourself because you can come back to who you are, what you are, and come back home to yourself so you can feel yourself. What am I thankful for today? So your guides want you to ask yourself about being thankful, being grateful. I talk about an attitude of gratitude on and off. I did a lot of gratitude videos back in November, you know, because Thanksgiving, you focus on that. But what are you thankful for today? For me today, I am thankful to be here. I am thankful that I am learning to infuse intention and purpose into something that brings me a sense of peace and balance and brings me back to centering within myself, which is crocheting. And I get to premiere my fun little beanie for you guys. Okay. Thank you, Spirit. All right. And then what kinds of good and beautiful things am I experiencing in this moment? And that helps you to feel more thankful for everything that you have all around you, is in allowing yourself to see all the beauty around you right now. If for me, I have these beautiful crystals all around me, and I have all these amazing variety of card decks. As you guys can see on the other camera, not my webcam, but on the other camera, you can see the color of my walls. You can see my Harry Potter blanket behind me, my scarf, my really overfull garbage can that yells at me to change it. But you can see I have all of these beautiful things surrounding me. I have worked really hard to make my home beautiful and put my own uniqueness into it. And I'm deeply grateful for that. When you can start looking around your world, even just looking out the window and seeing a tree. And I know that for the Northern Hemisphere, and especially where I'm at, it's wintertime. So everything is really brown. But think about the nature of the color brown. Brown is like the dirt that we walk through. It's the energy of the earth itself. It's the core, the foundation, the roots. It's the protective bark on the outside. It's the color that signifies the changing of the seasons. It shows us through the trees and the color of brown. It shows us what it's like to go through a cycle of rest and rejuvenation and rebirth and blossoming and thriving and then harvesting. And it's beautiful. And we get to witness this every day. We get to witness it every day. Look out your window, and every day, Mother Nature in the world is right there. It's right there. So even when it may feel incredibly desolate, it's still right there. Everything around you can be that beautiful if you choose to see it that way, but it's up to you. Each one of us choose our perceptions. We have loving space. I cannot learn other people's lessons for them. They must get there themselves at their own time. I can simply hold loving space for them as they go through their journey. When you understand that you're just holding space for other people, there's a lot of pressure on your shoulders that is alleviated. For me, that's the intention that I have here. And I am blessed because Dom Aquino, I believe. Let me know, Dom, if I'm saying that wrong. Told me just today in the comments on one of my videos, I believe it was, that I've created this loving, nurturing, safe space for the people on this channel. And it was one of the greatest blessings I've ever received in a message, because that's what I want. I want you guys to know that here you can be as broken as you feel that you are, because I will see how beautiful you are and remind you of that. But I'm never going to say, let me do this for you. Let me take this from you, because I can't. And it's not right for me to. And it wouldn't help you. It would hinder you. So I'm holding space for you, and I will always hold space. Just like me doing these readings right now, I'm holding space for each and every one of us for these messages. Then we have opportunities for growth. Everything is happening for me in my evolution. I'm not a victim of the things that happen. I take ownership of my life and make the best of the challenges along my journey. I see how difficult moments help me to become my best version, and I am thankful for them. Guys, this is why I love when I'm in one of these states and I just let myself channel, because Spirit shows me the cards to pick and they always support the message so purely. And I can't fake this. It's still, to my rational brain, I'm like, how does this shit work? How does it work? I have no idea, but I'm here for it and I'm blessed because of it. And I'm blessed because of you, because of each and every one of you. I'm blessed. And then we have nurture. It's okay to want to stay home and be alone. I deserve days to myself, days to relax and simply be. I honor how I feel and take this day to do the things that feel nurturing to me. Wow. I love how the cards of loving space and nurture are like reversals of each other. It's when you nurture yourself, you are able to see how your energy, your space, your environment nurtures you. I actually put out a short today that started with that message. Man, everything is always so interconnected. I love it. All right. Well, it sounds like my kids are home or my dogs are going crazy. So if you guys can hear the barking, I apologize. But we're going to get one final message from the Healing Oracle of Light, because I think that we are pretty much getting the same message on repeat. Yeah. Not going to happen. All right. Spirit, can we get one final message for the collective on this? Can we get just one message for them to, actually, let's see. Can we get a message for them to take into a hermit journey? Help them see this part of themselves. Help them see this part of their light so that they can take this light and move forward internally, thoroughly. Thank you. All right. So we have the card goodness, which is beautiful. And with this green and the leaf, it comes back to Mother Nature, just like we've been talking about, but it's about your heart space. Especially, it says, I overcome my imperfections, polish my character, and feed on the positive. Thus, I free myself, allow my goodness to manifest and become a source of joy. Through gentleness, I offer unconditional support, understanding, and love to myself and others, and to yourself first. Embrace the goodness that is you and this life. Yes, we are all fallible, but that is overcoming imperfections by saying, you know what, I am imperfect because I am fallible, but I own all the things that I've done. I move forward in the right way. I come back to myself and I appreciate myself. I appreciate the challenges. I appreciate the struggles and the trials because it has grown me into who I am. I have learned the middle path, the tamed path, and it's a beautiful thing. All right, my loves, this is what I have for you in the collective message. I want to say thank you so much for being here. If you guys appreciate this message, if it resonated, let me know in the comment section. You guys know the drill for, equal energy exchange and all that. There's the ads, liking this video, subscribing, commenting, the whole nine. Do what you want. I'm here to hold space regardless. I love you guys all. Bye.